Do good, Maverick here. Welcome to podcast episode number 181, Expanding Out of Trouble, Billionaire Advice. When it comes to phrase and the concept expanding out of trouble, it was something I learned years ago when I read the autobiography of Richard Branson, Losing My Virginity. He later on also wrote Finding My Virginity as a part two to his autobiography. But yeah, in his first autobiography, he talked about the concept of expanding out of trouble. I forgot what the exact situation was where he first talked about it and came up with the phrase, but that one really stuck with me because oftentimes what uh, what we're often told to do is to kind of shrink out of trouble. Like if you're in some kind of financial trouble, his situation, I think it was some financial trouble or business problem. I think maybe it was the situation with the British Airways when they used dirty tricks to try to push him out of business. And he sold Virgin Records and bought more planes in order to expand out of trouble. I think maybe it was something like that, but I'm not really sure how the exact situation was. But he basically decided to, yeah, expand out of trouble. Now, Richard Branson, there's a bunch of things I disagree with him on, but he's a fascinating entrepreneur for sure. One of the world's most popular entrepreneurs. And I think he is still the one and only person in the world that has built, how many was it? Forgot if it was 4 or if it was 8 different billion-dollar companies. Now maybe Elon Musk has beat him to some of it. But at a point in time, he was the only man in the world, it said, that had built that many companies that had been valued at $1 billion. And the Virgin Empire consists of something like 300 to 400 different companies. But yeah, when it comes to expanding out of trouble, it's not only for billionaires. When people are in especially financial trouble, the typical advice is to try to shrink out of it. Like, yeah, you have to lower your expenses and sell out on this and that. And in many cases, that it can be great advice. But the problem is that there's a limit to it. There's a very strict limit to it. If you're making $4,000 per month, the maximum you can save is pretty much what you already have, and $4,000 per month. But when it comes to expanding out of trouble, maybe you can create something, maybe you can come up with an offer and promote it, launch a business, sell a product or service, and that way expand out of it. There's a lot of problems that can be expanded out of that will be very difficult or time consuming and work intensive to shrink out of. Anyway, I just thought I would jump on and share that concept of expanding out of trouble. It's just really fascinating. And by the way, if you find yourself trapped in the 9 to 5 rat race and you want to escape and live a life of more freedom, maybe expanding out of that trouble, maybe expanding out of it is the solution. The typical thing is to kind of wait until retirement. But there are options out there. I'm not an expert at this at all. But the fascinating thing, the last few weeks, I've been interviewing a bunch of owners of paid communities that are making at least $10,000 in profit per month. And several of those people that I interviewed, from the day they launched their paid community until they reached at least $10,000 in profit per month, it took them like 2 to 3 months. Not for all of them, but for several of them. And a paid community is something that you can start as a so-called side hustle and gradually grow it until it can replace your income. So if you want to learn from those success stories that I interviewed and also connect with a bunch of other people that are in the process of building their own paid community, you should check out communitycashcows.com. All right. God bless.